Hey friends, welcome back. So over the years, we've taken a look at a few different solar generators, and one of the questions that always comes up from you guys is, okay, how does that stack up with a Jackery? So today, we're actually going to take a look at one. We have the Jackery Solar Generator 1500 kit that we're going to take a look at today, which basically consists of the Jackery Explorer 1500 and 4 of the Solarsaga 100 watt panels. So it's basically like an entire kit that you buy, all the panels, all the cables, all the adapters, everything's all included. We are going to change things up a little bit this time. So we normally, when we take a look at things like this and test them or review them, we take them to our off-grid cabin and we use them there. I wanted to change things up a little bit this time and stay here on the Homestead with you guys, because I can do a little bit more real world testing with you guys. So it is a bit chilly today. It's kind of windy. The sun's out. I've been out here getting things charged up. It's working quite well. But I'm going to take the unit into the shop with me and we'll take a closer look at this, and then we'll come back out and take a look at the panels and do some testing and tell you what I like and what I don't like about the entire setup. So there's two important things to talk about when we talk about power stations like this, and that is wattage and watt hours, because I'm going to mention both of them in this video and I want to make sure you understand them. So wattage is how much power something uses at any given point in time. So let's say you have a toaster in your kitchen, you plug it in, you turn it on, it draws 500 watts of power. Now watt hours is how much power something uses over the course of 1 hour, also measured in watts, watts and time. So if you take, for example, this power station right here can store just over 1500 watt hours of power, which means if I have a 100 watt light bulb, and I plug it into this thing, 100 times 15 hours is 1500 watt hours. This will run that light bulb for about 15 hours. Now, that's perfect world math there, so you're never going to get all of the power out of this thing. There's some losses that occur throughout the circuitry and the inverter and converting from DC power into AC power, but I want to make sure you understand that concept. So let's talk about wattage first. So this unit is capable of producing 1800 watts of power at any given point in time. So if you take something massive like let's say you have a big giant microwave in your kitchen, that might draw 1800 watts of power. And it can also surge up to 3600 watts of power, which means sometimes things like sump pumps and well pumps and different things like that, even compressors on refrigerators and freezers, can sometimes surge to a really, really high wattage when they first start up, and then they'll dip back down. So we kind of already touched on the watt hours thing. This can store just over 1500 watt hours. So if you take our example from earlier, our 500 watt toaster, this will run that toaster for 3 hours basically. So as a whole, the whole thing weighs in at about 35 pounds. It's really not that bad. It does use lithium ion batteries. So that's the chemistry that's inside of there, which helps when it comes to weight. But there's also something else to mention here that's important, and that is cycles. So all manufacturers do something where they say, how many times can I discharge this unit and charge it back up before the batteries are degraded to 80% of the original capacity? And this unit in particular with lithium ion batteries is at 500 cycles. It does have a little light on the side. Some people have kind of made fun of this little light and like, it's not very bright. What's the use of it? And I don't think it's designed really to like light up a room for you. It's more like, I lost power. Where's my Jackery? I need to plug this thing in. I need a little bit of light to get myself back up and running. So to get power out of this thing, you have DC power here, here, and then this is your AC power. Each one is controlled separately. You can turn each one on individually from each other. Over here we have 3 USB ports. There's a USB-C, A, and another A that's Qualcomm Quick Charge enabled. These are the 110 volt traditional house style outputs here. That's where that 1800 watts comes into play. It's not each, it's combined total across the board. And then this is the 12 volt, 10 amp cigarette style outlet adapter. If you have a mini fridge or something that you want to run off of this, that's where that comes into play. This button here toggles the display. And one of the things that I really, really enjoy about the display is when you're using power, so you're using power here, here, or here, it will show you on the display not only how much power you're using, but at that given amount of power, how long it will last. And it'll do the same thing on the input side when you have solar panels hooked up to it, the AC adapter or the cigarette style adapter to charge the unit. It will also show how long it's going to take to get back to full power. So for charging options, this is our input section, and notice that there's two inputs here. These are two separate independent MPPT charge controller ports. So they can be used with the AC adapter, they can be used with the 12-volt cigarette lighter adapter, they can also be used with the solar panels or any combination thereof. I could plug a solar panel into this one, the AC adapter into this one, however you want to do it. With the 4 panels that come with this kit, basically 2 panels parallel together and go into one side, the other 2 parallel and go into the other side. So that's kind of how the system works. There's a lot of flexibility in what you can do and how you can combine things and bridge them together. For times on things, with the 4 solar panels that come with it in my testing, I've been able to basically charge this from dead all the way to full in about 5 hours. But that's like on a perfect day, 0 clouds, a really good angle on the sun with my panels. The AC charging adapter, also from dead to full, I'm looking at like 5 to 6 hours. If you try to do this in your car, let's say you put this in your back seat, you're on a trip, and you plug in the cigarette style adapter into only, you're looking at like 14, 15 hours maybe to charge the from dead all the way to full. So that's kind of how the input works. Input is just as important, in my opinion, as output, because if you don't put something back into this, eventually the system's going to be depleted, and whatever you're trying to do with this unit, it's not going to do it anymore. There's a bright, sunny, chilly November day here in Michigan, so it's the perfect day to take a look at the solar panels that come with this kit. So the kit that we'll have linked down in the description below is the Jackery Solar Generator 1500 kit. It comes with the unit itself, your battery bank, and 4 of the Solarsaga 100 panels. Now these have quickly become, during my testing here, one of my favorite parts about this kit, because historically most of my experience with solar panels is with rigid panels. And they can be big, they can be heavy, they can be bulky, they can be hard to transport. But these bad boys, with 4 of them, I can literally 2 in this hand and 2 in this hand and transport them to wherever I need to go. I think they weigh maybe like 10 pounds each or something like that. And you can pretty easy put 2 in each hand and carry them no problem. Where this orange part is at the top here, there's little magnets that they have on both sides. And it just kind of clips the thing together, so it holds it together nice. If you're throwing it in the back of your car, in the back of your truck to transport, it's not gonna like pop open and flip open on you and stuff like that. So on the back side here is one of these little Velcro feet. You kind of use these for propping the panels up, adjusting your sun angle. The other side has another little kickstand, and then this little zipper pouch up here is where the cords are. They're stored in here. So each panel has about 10 feet of cord with each one of them. And one of the coolest little features I thought that they included was, you see right here at the top where this little orange thing is, there's a USB-A port and a USB-C port. So without even having the Jackery battery unit itself, you can set up one of these panels, plug your cell phone into one of these, or a USB power bank, or anything that runs off of USB-A or C for that matter, and charge it just off of one of these panels by itself. So earlier on in the video, we talked about how there's 2 separate independent charging ports. So you can use the AC wall adapter here. You could plug it into this one as well if you wanted. You can use the 12-volt car charger. But we're dealing with 4 solar panels here in this case. So what Jackery includes are these adapters that 1, 2, 3, 4 solar panels plug right into these adapters. And then these guys simply plug into here, and that's kind of what combines the 4 solar panels into 2 inputs. Now they're pretty cool. It makes it really simple. You kind of can't screw it up really, because there's really no way to hook things up wrong. I think what I kind of don't really like about the solar panels, my only negative about them, is this 8mm port that it has, and that most solar panel manufacturers include traditional MC4 style connectors so that you can mix, match, use it with other units. Jackery kind of went with this old school 8mm thing. It works for their unit. It keeps it simple, but I mean, MC4 is kind of like the industry standard nowadays. So I really wish that they would have included that on the panel end. All right, I think I got everything good. I got all my panels lined up so I don't have any shady spots. I think I got some good angles. So we'll plug both of the rear ones into this one, and both of the front ones into this one. Not that it really matters. I'm sure I could just mix and match them, but it's kind of the way my brain works. So now let's take a look and see what we're actually getting solar-wise. So every time I hook up these panels, they continue to impress me. We're pulling about 380 watts of power right now. So we have 4 100-watt panels, so that should be 400 watts. But to pull 380 out of something that's rated for 400 when it comes to solar is impressive in my opinion. We're located in Michigan. We're in northern climate. It's November. The sun is very, very low on the horizon, but there's 0 clouds in the sky. And these things are just performing quite well. Compared to my rigid panels that I have, up at our off-grid cabin, we have 2 200-watt rich solar panels. And I've never pulled above 350 with those 2 panels, and even in perfect conditions. So these are impressive. That's why I said these are one of my favorite parts of this entire kit. So one of the questions we always get from you guys is, how long will this power this? You know, whatever this happens to be. So I wanted to do a test. I brought the Jackery down in the basement with me. I unplugged our chest freezer. I plugged it into the Jackery and I measured it. So the Jackery started off at 100% charged. I ran it all the way down to 1% remaining for a total time of 32 hours, which really surprised me. It probably helps that the chest freezer is 3/4 of the way full. I'm sure if it was empty, the unit would have cycled on and off more times than it actually did, but it's a pretty good thing to know. You know, if something happens and you need to power your freezer, how long will this last? So I don't feel this video would be worth much of your time if I don't spend some time talking about what I like and what I dislike about this particular kit. So I think what Jackery is trying to do here with the Explorer 1500 paired with the Solarsaga panels, the included adapters, basically they're making a really easy to use kit for somebody. You don't have to buy this and then try to figure out, okay, what panels are going to go with it? Are they going to be the right voltage? Are they the right amperage? And how do things cable up? You kind of can't screw up the cabling. So the simplicity of the kit itself, I think, is definitely one of its strengths. The screen, the way that shows the amount of time that it's going to take to charge based on your input and discharge based on what you're taking out of the unit. I love that feature. I love the simplicity of the screen. I like the fact that it's not a touch screen. I like that there's physical buttons to turn each feature on and off on the unit. I feel sometimes that physical buttons are sometimes a little more reliable, especially over the long term, than a touchscreen. So definitely dig that. The USB ports that they included on the solar panels, that was a cool little added feature in my opinion. It's definitely not something that they needed to include. Somebody came up with the idea of, hey, we have all this power here in this panel. Why not give somebody a way to off-ramp or offload some of that power through USB ports. And then lastly, I love the dual inputs here. I love being able to mix and match both solar panels, AC adapters, car chargers, switch them around. They're completely independent from each other, but yet identical. So it kind of helps with that simplicity and that you can't screw things up and hook things up wrong. So what am I not a fan of? The cables on the solar panels, the 8mm jacks that they've used instead of using MC4 connectors. I understand what Jackery is trying to do here. They're trying to make things simple for the user. You know, you have your adapter, you plug your solar panels in, you plug this in here, you're done. But it kind of limits it. As somebody who owns multiple power stations and multiple different types of solar panels, as much as I love these solar panels, I can't use these on any of my other units now unless I buy some extra adapter or build some kind of adapter to be able to do that. So the lithium ion battery chemistry that they use inside of this unit, I mentioned it earlier, and it's one of the things that contributes to the lightweight of the unit. But I also mentioned that 80% battery degradation once you charge and discharge this unit 500 times. Now, most power station manufacturers these days have gotten away from using lithium ion batteries. Almost everybody these days is using lithium iron phosphate batteries instead. They're a lot heavier, but the cycle time, the number of times you can cycle that unit before your batteries start to become degraded, is in the thousands, like 2,000 to 3,000 times versus the 500 that Jackery has here. So a few extra USB ports would probably be a nice addition. It does not have Bluetooth, which for me personally, I'm totally okay with that. A lot of manufacturers are starting to include Bluetooth. You can run an app on your phone, connect to the power station, monitor how much power is coming out, how much power is coming in. There's no wireless charging pad. Again, it's something, it could go in the dislike column, but for me personally, I'm kind of not a fan of those extra added on features. I feel like in some ways they kind of distract from the core functionality of the unit itself, and that is to provide me with power. And the more power this is consuming with things like Bluetooth and wireless charging pads and things like that, that's less power that I can get back out of it. So they can go in the dislike column, but for me personally, I actually like the fact that they're kind of not included. It's a simple unit. They've tried to keep things as simple as possible. I understand that, and I respect that. And like I said at the beginning of our discussion here, I think what Jackery's trying to do, they've done well. So I think I've covered just about everything that I intended to cover in today's video. We've gone over the power station itself, the Explorer 1500. We talked a lot about the solar panels. We got those hooked up outside. We did some amazing testing with them. We were getting so much power out of those panels. I was really impressed. We talked about what I like about the unit as a whole, or the kit as a whole, and what I'm kind of not a fan of as a whole. So if you guys have any interest in one of these kits, these plug and play, really simple, can't screw it up, Jackery is having 3 big sales coming up. The first one's going to be Black Friday weekend. There's also a Cyber Monday sale, and I think there's going to be another one in early December where this entire kit that we looked at today is basically going to be 15% off. So I will leave the details about the sales down in the description, along with a couple of affiliate links for you guys. And I know some of these technical videos aren't necessarily for everyone, but I really try to keep things simple and try to teach you guys along the way. So it kind of just doesn't go over your head, and you can actually understand, how this thing works, how it produces power, how you charge it. And yeah, it's fun for me to do these videos. So as always, thank you for spending your time with me. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you later.